agendas for everyone. In your agenda, if you look, I get the right one here. If you look in your agenda, you're going to see on the second page the description of the task force charge. So the task force charge is by adopted motion. The Eugene City Council on December 14, 2011 asked Mayor Peters me to form a task force to develop recommendations addressing needs and impacts for our unhoused community members. The task force can report back to the City Council within 90 days or on or about March 12, 2012. Appointed by the mayor, members will include city councilors, community members, representatives from Occupy Eugene, nonprofit, human agencies, and human rights commissions. The background is in October 2011, Occupy Eugene began a protest focusing on issues of economic inequality. The group set up a camp at Washington Jefferson Park and drew attention to and the involvement of Eugene's unhoused population. While the encampment presented some community safety and park stewardship challenges, all acknowledged that Occupy movement highlighted an important community issue and innovative possibilities for addressing homelessness. So, the timeline is the task force seeks to present a set of recommendations to Eugene City Council, as I said, on or about March 12th, with regular progress reports throughout January and February. It is anticipated that the full group will meet 6 to 8 times, with smaller groups potentially meeting separately to focus on specific strategies and actions. And if you look at the agenda for today, I've just done the welcome and the overview. Next, we're going to have the introduction of our task force members. Later in the meeting, there's going to be time to talk in depth with each other. We hope to have people at least know who's in the room and who is represented. So I want to go around and have each person say their name and either their organization affiliation or who they will be representing on this group. So we'll start with Councilor Clark.
Pat Barr, Eugene City Council. George Brown, Eugene City Council.
Terry McDonald, City City Hall.
James Manning, Police Commission Outreach Resource Chief Attorney.
Andrew Ortiz, City Council Board 7.
Glenn Porter, Homeless Action Coalition.
Daniel O'Connell, sitting in for Dave Mandelblatt of the Downtown Neighborhood Association.
I'm Judith Voss, and I'm unaffiliated, and I'm here to be an advocate for people living on the streets. I'm Terry Bell from the Eugene School District 4J.
Mike Sullivan with the City of Eugene Community Development.
Nancy Forrest with Eugene Springfield Solidarity Network with the local Jobs with Justice chapter.
Melissa Mona, I volunteer with the Vegan Warming Centers and I'm a long-time homeless rights advocate.
Jack Tripp, Eugene Mission.
Zachariah Henry, Western University Members.
Carla Newbury, a community at large and also a participant in Occupy Eugene.
Sabra Markov, longtime Eugene resident and participant in Occupy Eugene.
Jean Stacy, community, and also participant in Occupy.
Terry Purvis, Occupy Eugene medical staff.
Allie Valkyrie, organizer with Occupy Eugene.
Sarah, Street Family Alliance with Occupy Eugene.
And Lourdes, also representing the Street Family Alliance with Occupy Eugene.
My name is Libra Solar, and I'm a 35-year resident of Eugene, and I'm representing a person who does not have a home.
I'm Dawn Butera. I represent the school district as an advocate for students who experience homelessness.
Michael Perry, Community Alliance of Lake County, and also been involved with Occupy Eugene.
I'm Robert Rogers with Shelter Care, Program Manager of the Safe Haven Program.
I'm Claire Surratt. I'm the chair of the Human Services Commission.
Kirsten Lee with Last Runway Homeless Youth Services.
Kristen Duvall, Emergency Services.
Craig Ackerman with Looking Glass.
Karen Edmonds with Cooperland County.
Tom Musselwhite with Trainsock Neighborhood Association and formerly with the Eugene Springfield Homeless Action Coalition.
Craig Smith, the City of Eugene Recreation Services.
Julie Grossman, Eugene Family YMCA.
James Davidson, Occupy Your Hearts and Minds International. I'm here to serve the homeless.
Big John McCahill, Food Services, Occupy Eugene.
Chuck Gerard, Wakeford Clinic.
Erin Bonner, representing Susan Vann of Shelter Care.
Provo Human Services Commission.
Chris Pryor, City Council.
So I want to be sure that if anybody who's invited to sit at the table is at the table, and if they're not, we need to make room for them. So I see we have two of our fine officers over here who need to be at the table, not sitting, standing in the background. So let's make sure it's right. Mayor City, it's hard to hear people. I know it's hard to hear people. I know there might be nothing we can do about it, but it's hard. Can't hear back there? Yeah. So we're all gonna have, can you hear me? Yeah. All right, so everybody's gonna have to broadcast, I guess is what we have to say. I'm just waiting to make sure everybody gets to sit who needs to sit. Sorry, we'll go work on this organization. So, for those who did not get introduced, will you please hold up your hands so you may be introduced.
Sure, I'm Pete Deshpande, City of Eugene Police.
I'm Jim McBride, City of Eugene Police Department.
Thank you. Moving on down the line here.
John Pittman, First United Methodist.
Melanie Newman, First Congregational United Church of Christ.
We need one more person at the table here, I think. I don't know where we're going to.
I couldn't find a chair, but
Here you go, Chair.
thanks. I'm Louisa Hemachek.
Okay, and Whitaker Davis, right?
Whitaker Davis.
Right. Go ahead.
Ben Cross, First Baptist Church.
Lon Laughlin with the Veterans Health Administration.
Coming down this way. Okay. Thank you all again for being here. You see the variety of people who are here, and we'll still be sort of shaking down. We've got everybody that we need to at the table. So we're going to go to public comments, and I know there's a lot of public here, and we're not going to be able to hear everybody in 15 minutes, pretty obviously. So we're going to hear from as many people as we can within that period of time. You are also welcome to send us emails or give us written materials, any way you want to communicate with us. We want to hear from you, okay? So, do we have a sign-up sheet or anything?
Right here.
Yep.
I don't mean a sign-up sheet for us, but a sign-up sheet for everyone involved.
It's been going.
Sign in for the meeting, it doesn't say speak.
Oh, well, that's something we'll have to fix, won't we? Okay. So will you hold up your hand if you want to speak? Okay, I'll let you go with your standing up back there. Please, again, we'll get this shaken out better, but speak, introduce yourself and speak out.
My name is, how much time do I have?
2 minutes.
My name is Irene Cardenas. I've been homeless for over a year, and I want to support homeless people's rights to be respected and honored. Some of us do not want to be part of a corrupt society. We put our hearts and efforts into work we consider as important, even if we're not, we don't have a job which you might consider corrupt. And personally for me, spirituality is part of my nature. I read what is attributed to Jesus in the Essene teachings. It's important for me to be able to live in nature, in a community which is shares my values. So political rights for the homeless, empowering the 99% is very important to me. And I think a lot of people, homeless people, do have those political concerns. And I also let Mind Freedom know about this meeting. They're in Eugene, and they support people's rights for the functioning of their nervous system to be respected and honored, not falsely characterized or negatively portrayed as an illness without scientific proof. And there was a Pottinger decision in Miami-Dade in 1988, if I recall correctly. Hugh Massengill wrote to the Register Guard a letter that was published recently that 5 homeless people have a class action lawsuit right to have life-sustaining activities like sleeping in nature, and they have a constitutional right to not have their property seized and to be harassed by police. And I like to live harmoniously, to have everyone be able to enjoy the parks. I'd like to live in a community where there's witnesses around. I'm not going to sit in a tent in a parking lot alone or be isolated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, let's see, let's start off with here in the press. Identify yourself.
I don't quite know where to face.
It's hard. Face this way.
My name,
you want to talk to?
I want to talk to everyone, but I can't be circular. My name is Elaine Blanc. I live in Eugene. We saw an announcement in the newspaper that Occupy had been closed down and that the Wheeler Pavilion had been opened. And I was so happy to hear that the people who did that something good was going to come out of the Occupy situation and people would have a place to stay. And the following Monday, the newspaper had a story that it had only been open for one night. And I don't understand why. I don't understand when we are a rich country, how it can be that people are homeless. And I don't hear anyone on the newspaper, I don't hear anyone on the radio saying, we need more volunteers, we need volunteers tonight so that people can have a place to stay. I don't understand why there isn't more of a sense of urgency about this. And the Occupy encampment has made me think about, what am I doing? And when I see a homeless person at a street corner, I give them what I can afford, and I take things from my garden to the local homeless shelter. And that's all I'm doing. And I would like to be doing more, but I'm busy. My schedule is full. If something isn't scheduled ahead of time in my life, it doesn't get done. I would like this task force to come up with advice on how can someone like me plug in. What is the best way? There must be a better way. There must be a more creative way. And I like it. I think we should turn, for example, to the historians of the U of O and ask them, how have, in other times, in other places, how have people coped with this? Because I think we have hard times ahead. We've got to get creative at how to deal effectively with all the people in our community.
All right. Next, Joseph in the back.
Yeah, I'm Joseph Newton. I'm a semi-host in Whitaker. And my hopes are twofold, actually. One, I hope we will finally address the issue of homelessness, the fact that people are criminalized for existing. When you cannot sleep without breaking an ordinance, then your existence is criminalized. That has to be corrected. You know, and I'm really happy that the Occupy movement brought that out. I want to see that addressed. But more so, this was the year of the Occupy movement, and the homelessness movement came, and it included something that is more important, actually. Homelessness is definitely one of my issues, since I'm almost there, but there is a bigger issue, because the issue that Occupy is addressing, the control of our politics, the control of our economy by that small elite is what is preventing us from dealing with the whole welter of other issues, from homelessness to war to ecological devastation. Occupy must go on. We must not stop Occupy until the direction of this world changes. Thank you.
Paul.
My name's Paul Simon, and I've been a supporter of Occupy Eugene from early on. And I'd like to, first of all, thank everybody who is on the task force, everyone who's made the choice to be a part of this. I've got a tremendous amount of faith in this group of people, and especially a lot of the people that I'm familiar with on the task force. I'd really like to encourage you all to look at this, to not try to accomplish change in a very short time, to really take a long-term approach to what we're doing so we can actually make some systemic changes, and to really think creatively. Because something hasn't been tried before, let's try something that hasn't been tried before. There's a lot of things that have been done in the past, but maybe we could take some of those things that have failed and put them together. We're really dealing with a cultural sickness here. This is a cultural issue. And so it's something that I think we really need to be mindful of, how to approach the culture of people that are unhoused, because it's a different culture, and we need to be respectful of that and to, yeah, really works. So, thank you.
Eugene Wander, member of the homeless community in Eugene. I've been homeless more years than I'd like to say. First of all, I'd like to express respect for every one of you that have taken the time, decided to volunteer your time to become part of this task force. I have a fear. That fear would be that, like many situations like this in the past, this is going to be nothing more than a placebo to placate the people that were displaced through the removal of the camp. However, I am encouraged by the fact that I also believe this is the first time in the city's history in dealing with stuff like this, the homeless have been involved and have been invited to actually take part and to give their, well, like I said, to my knowledge it is. I think that the fact that we have had the homeless invited to this is a good sign, and I hope that the members of our homeless community and the members that are here to represent Occupy Eugene will push a more abstract form of thinking that is typical among the systemized, thoughts processes that usually go on dealing with this.
Hi, my name is Bob Brown. First, I'd like to say that I'm so happy and excited to see that this action is being taken place, and to see all the people here who are stepping up and willing to participate in this. The other thing I'd like to say is that I've been homeless many times, beginning as a youth who ran away from an abusive home and wound up as a street kid. And throughout my life, because of issues with PTSD and other things, I've been homeless. I think that one thing that I'm concerned with is that, for me, it's been very difficult to access services, and I know that's true of a lot of veterans, because places like the Mission are just not safe. And I'm not saying that physically safe for me, it's just, it triggers my PTSD to be there. So a lot of us would prefer to camp out somewhere where we can at least have some space that feels safe, even if it's a tent. And I've worked with people that go out and do outreach with veterans out in the bush, because that's the place where they feel safe. So I'm hoping that that will be included, that this task force won't just look at, the traditional services that aren't accessible to people, but come up with creative ideas, other ways of doing that. The other thing I'd like to say is about Occupy Eugene. For me, Occupy Eugene, I'm very grateful to that group of folks. I think what happened when they every group that occupied space became a beacon for homeless people who will not or cannot, for whatever reason, like myself, be in those traditional service places. And it provided an opportunity for people to come to a place that's safe. So I would listen to those folks. They know. Thank you.
One heart attack can make a family homeless. And I know there are many here in Eugene who have showed up at Occupy that are homeless because of the cost of medical care. They have no medical care. It's escalated out of the reach of too many people here throughout our country. Tonight, we're having an organizing meeting at eWeb at 7 o'clock. Everyone's invited. Madisell doctors from Corvallis and Portland are coming to help us and be educated. So you're all invited. We really do need a healthcare system that makes it for everyone. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheila Scalf. I'm a pastor. I'd like to thank the committee for being here and what they're trying to do. It's hard work. For over 10 years, my wife and I, we lived in the woods with the homeless, and I'd like to give you a little advice as you go. I would like to say to put your effort into those that want help, not those that do not. We found over a period of about 10 years that about 87% of the individuals did not want help. Obviously, the ones that are here do. And there was about 13% that did. And once we started focusing our effort on those that wanted help, we were able to get them jobs and places to live, a VA program. A lot of times you'll see a person with a sign that says, I'm a veteran. Well, there's help for him with the VA, and you could get that, and they could get that. Go down to the local VA system, and I really would like to thank you for your effort and what you're doing, because it is good, and I wish more people that call themselves Christians would get out there and work. Thank you.
Others who want to speak? Over here in
My name's Jennifer Frenzer-Knowlton, and I'm from Occupy Eugene. I'm also a Quaker with Eugene Friends meeting, and I've done lots of community organizing in this town. One of the things that I've discovered in working with Occupy Eugene is that we can't underestimate the impact of living in community. The community experience, that bonding that happened with an integrated community, housed people, unhoused, the sense of neighbors having each other's back. Please don't underestimate the chemistry of that. It's phenomenal, and I think it is a source of fuel for creative solutions. Thank you.
and right next to you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Townsend of Occupy Eugene. I've been homeless for 10 years. I'd just like to say that houses aren't forever. No matter how great or small or big or how much you paid for them, that in 100 years from now, your house probably won't be standing. And the people in this community and the people in all the communities around the world, there's more and more people that are becoming homeless every year. Every year, the amount of people in shelters goes up. Every year, the amount of people that have houses that have foreclosures and that aren't able to pay for them as the cost of living dramatically increases and the minimum wage stays the same and nobody's able to afford their houses, we're going to see a lot more people like everybody in this room that are becoming homeless. And it's not just going to be the same people that we've always seen. It's going to be people with families, people in the middle-aged class, people that used to have everything that is being taken away from them because they're trying as hard as they can to fit into a society that isn't working for them. This isn't just about the homeless. This is about society reformation and system policies changing. The problem is that systemically, our system isn't set up to deal with the influx of homeless people that we're going to be seeing over the next 5 years. Imagine if a situation like Hurricane Katrina took place right here in the Northwest, and a bunch of people were displaced because of a natural disaster. What would we do with them? We would put them all in a giant, maybe in the Civic Center Stadium for a week. And we'd see the same thing that happened at Occupy Eugene, the same thing that happened at the stadium at Hurricane Katrina. We'd see the same thing happening over and over again. So we have to think about what we're going to do when we're all equals and we're all in the same playing field and we're all homeless together. What are we going to do then? I want to encourage you guys to think about taking away how you view people, how the systemic differential from us and them, or from you and the homeless. I want you guys to just think about everybody coming to this table as equals. And I'd encourage you to think about what you would do in a situation like that. And thank you. Thank you for being here.
I think we have time for about one more. Magic. Oh, there, okay.
I'm Greg Nagel. Terry McDonald, which one are you?
Yeah, okay, you had an article this morning in the paper, you made a really good point, that about 25% of the homeless are mentally ill. Okay, and a lot of mentally ill people medicate themselves with substances. Had it not been for that contingent of people, and there were people at the occupied camp who were dangerous. Dangerous, okay. This is happening a lot. The fact is that had it not been for them, I think the thing could have persisted a lot longer. But you can't be dealing with addicts and mentally ill people in a homeless camp. It's impossible. The fact is that a lot of those people don't belong on the streets. And if you have a homeless camp with those people, it will take it down. And so the reality is that a lot of our people could have dealt with it. We could have had a sustainable thing. I am not a fool, okay? But I also know there's a lot of people out there. There's one guy who was brain injured. And he had been in an auto accident, okay? I was thinking if I spent time by him, I needed bear spray. Okay, and this is real. And so the fact is that I don't know what to do about it because the situation seems impossible. And the fact is that is the fact. I thought, Terry, you stated it really well. Okay, so I have got to keep coming back to that. Unless we can deal with that segment of the population, this thing is not going to be sustainable in any way at all. I'm not mentally ill. Okay. Not yet.
Thank you all for speaking. In the course of time, if you have other ideas, other suggestions, other things that you want to let us know, we welcome those. I also think that Terry did a great article, and I hope that if you haven't seen it, you will see it. And I just actually want to appreciate the occupied figures, the twinkle figures, because I think that we've used that in council before, and I think it's a really great way for people to express support but not interrupt meetings, and I really appreciate that a lot. Thank you for that. Okay, so, yes. Please introduce yourself.
Dan Brandt, one of the pastors of First Christian Church down the street. Very much involved in this issue for the last 20 years, so thrilled to be here.
Glad you're here. Anybody else that hasn't been introduced? I'm feeling bad for the people down here that have the sun shining right in their faces right now. Sorry. Okay, well, we're going to work on a lot of things. All right, the next thing on our agenda is that I thought it was so important, and I didn't personally, this is just me speaking right now, I know the council thinks this is very important. I didn't want it to collapse under its own weight, and I didn't want it to become a dog and pony show. I wanted to actually make change happen, not an easy thing. And so I thought maybe the best chance we would have of doing that is to get folks to come and work with us who are known throughout the state for being able to facilitate groups getting through difficult issues. And so we have asked Oregon Consensus to join us and help us through this process. And I would really like for them, I had some very good experiences with them, working with them on the West Eugene Collaborative and some other places as well, and think that they, the other thing I really didn't want was somebody who had an ill way of expressing this, but I thought it would be well to have people whose total concentration is on facilitation and not on their point of view. And so having someone that's not vested in a particular outcome in our community just seemed right to me, other than helping us get done what we want to do. So I'd like them to introduce themselves and tell you what they want to tell you about the Oregon Consensus.
Hi, thank you, Mayor Piercy. My name is Wendy Willis, and this is Laurel Singer. We work in an organization called the National Policy Consensus Center at Portland State University. We're one of the programs in that center. The National Policy Consensus Center works with communities around the country who want to create decision-making that includes many points of view. And the bedrock values of the organization is that you can make the community you want if you include all the points of view. And that it takes work, and work of needing that information and integrating it together. And so today, we're honored that all of you have invited us to join you and be here with you here today to start to tease out some of the themes that you want to bring forth together, and in a very innovative setting. So thank you very much for including us. Laurel both of us have been Lane County residents at some point in our lives, and so we're happy to be back here. Laurel's going to walk us through a process where we can start to get, so some of the ideas can start to emerge and we can start to put that in the council today. So thank you.
So as Wendy said, I'm Laurel Singer. It's an honor to be here. I'm already impressed with the quality of the dialogue that is started and the awareness of the challenges that you have in front of you, that there's a median and diverse needs, and at the same time wanting to look at some deep, systemic, and lasting changes. And that's a challenge before you. But I also heard in some of what you've already shared, this excitement that the Occupy movement has created some new opportunities and some possible, even that you see that reflected in the composition of the task force. So you're already treading some new terrain together. When we start with a group, we typically like to talk with a number of people to better understand what the issues are, what the needs are, how best to organize ourselves in order to accomplish that task. We haven't had an opportunity to do that, so we wanted to use the remaining of this meeting to do that as well. So we're actually going to get you started on some work. We're going to ask you to form small groups of about 5 to 6, and we'll give you the questions that we would like to get your responses to. And we actually have extra copies, so we'll invite the audience, although we won't be able to we don't have time to get report outs from the audience groups. We're going to ask you to write them down so we can also get your feedback as well. To fully understand, and these are the questions that we're going to ask you to answer. What are the unique opportunities created by and lessons learned from the Occupy Eugene movement that in conjunction with previous work on homelessness could result in new and innovative possibilities in approaching these issues? And we'll have these written down for you to use in your small groups. And the other one is, given the charge of this group and the time that's been given, what is the one thing you would most like to see come out of this process that would make you feel it's been successful? And you'll have these sheets. We're going to ask you, particularly if you're a member of the audience group, to make your notes. We'll ask in each group, as you form your group, if you can identify someone who will be their scribe and write out the major themes, and also somebody who can report back. And those can be the same person. What we'll ask is that before you start writing down things, give everybody an opportunity to answer that question. And then after you've heard everybody, see if you can condense what are the major themes that are coming out in your small group. And write those down. And you'll have about 10 minutes per question. And then at the end, we'd like you to think about, just as a brainstorm, as you're looking around this group, this task force, are there other interests that need to be represented? And who might be a good representative that you would suggest? We may not be able to act on all those, but we'd like to think, is there any interests that aren't at the table that we really should consider? So that would be, we're not asking for more numbers, but we are wanting to be sure that
do we have the right interest? And if there's somebody that would really be significant to be on the task force, we want to make sure we've considered that. So your first task is, if you're in the audience or at the tables, to form groups. What we want is task force members to be with other task force members, but about 5 per small group. And we're going to come around. You can already start to say who's going to take notes and who's going to report. And we'll come around and make sure you get this guide that'll help you.
Yeah, so for task force members in particular, if you can, try to be in groups that are mixed, where you may not know some of the other people, they may be representing a different point of view, so that you can really start the process of talking to each other about the interests, even in the small groups.
You're going to have about 20 minutes and then we'll report out. But if you can get up and move around, I know we're a little tight. I have to say, I apologize that the seating is a little cramped. We're thrilled to see that there's such a high turnover, where we were understanding that there were people gone. So it's exciting to see almost a full team of people here. And we'll prepare for that better next time.
Why don't we have in mind, or don't have any, let's tell people as quick as you can, get in your 5, and don't start at 20 minutes until they're in their 5.
Great. And if you can't think without a flip chart, there are those available, but you don't have to.
So go ahead and organize yourselves in groups of 5. Audience, if you can do that as well.
they can have another man that controls just those little things that like you say, you need to go street or whatever. Like, they're here between 2 and 4, and they're the same between 4 and 6, and they're traveling between. But because of the finally coming through this Occupy Eugene nonprofit, that they're able to go they're able to be from there. It's really a little bit more.
Many of the things have already been addressed by these earlier groups, but one thing I don't think I heard was that this has created an opportunity for us to talk about how we prioritize our resources, both talking about solutions that perhaps reprioritize the resources that we already have, and also looking at solutions that may not actually be resource heavy. Sometimes there are solutions that require a great deal of resources, and those are necessary, but there may also be solutions that don't require any resources that we can implement right away.
Can we just ask everybody to use their outside voice? Because I know it's hard to hear.
Aside from what Lotus said, which is pretty much what we covered, a couple things. There's several, one thing I learned is there's several facets of the unhoused population. There's those who desire shelter and would like shelter immediately, and that's something we need to focus on. There's also people who don't necessarily look for shelter. They're nomadically inclined, and we need to respect their autonomy, and we need to respect the fact that they exist and not to criminalize their existence. Another thing really learned is that, the importance of people having somewhere to be during the day. I think traditional homeless services have focused on shelter, but one thing we really learned at Occupy is having somewhere to be and having somewhere to put your things is like the most overlooked thing in any social service that I've ever seen. I just need to stress somewhere to put your stuff and somewhere. And, the fact that what went on in Occupy, again, was this constantly empowering. Not only did people have something to do during the day, but, they weren't just watching TV and playing board games. They were educating each other. They were using their own skills. And they were able to share their own knowledge in a way that they've never been able to before. And I can't stress how important that was.
One or two reporters, just as we're starting to build a community here, if you just say your name, so we'll over time begin to, I'm sorry I didn't start that now, but if you would, this group, say your name, so we can start to get familiar with each other.
I was going to hand this off to somebody else. I'm Terry McDonald, and then I realized my handwriting is so bad that I should probably. And we have the same as, I'll skip the things that were the similar, that we had many of the similar conclusions. We added one more. Chemically addicted and mentally ill needed compassionate and real next steps, either in the community or appropriate out settings.
Thank you.
Chuck? Lana?
No.
Chuck? I'm Chuck. So I'm going to just repeat the word community because it's such an important word. The other things we talked about, apparently at the Occupy site, people had the opportunity to both be together and when they needed to be separate or be apart. And that sounded of great value. Self-governance was an important factor, and the idea that the folks there created a social contract and had people sign an agreement about living there and what the assumptions or beliefs were seemed important. The ability to come and go at will was important. And one of the things that was learned, I think, is that if there's an experiment like that again, they're going to need some ability or authority to enforce their agreements.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan, we have a good video.
I heard that too, Dan.
I'm actually the voice for Melissa. Two things. One, that I've probably been said a little bit, but maybe a different way, the importance of an alternative model to address housing needs. And secondly, that we have, let me phrase it this way, we're all aware of the work of the Eugene Mission. The Eugene Mission probably is supported by about 10 to 15% of our community, doing fabulous good things. Now if we can tap into the other 80 to 85% of the community that's not involved in the mission, think of what resource then we can mobilize to be in this work. So providing a way for the community to be involved and to volunteer in this work is what the really exciting development is.
Yeah, I'm Craig. I'm struggling with my voice right now, so I'll be outside as I can be. So we've talked a lot about what other people talk about. I think the one thing that keeps coming up is that the attention of Occupy really brought out a lot of passion in people, and that passion did really open up resources that we didn't know we had. And it seems to be a matter of connecting those resources to the variety of ways in which they need to be applied for the variety of issues that occur in the camp.
Sparrow, some of the opportunities that I saw arise one of the opportunities that I saw was the opportunity to realize that some of the laws that we have created conflict each other when taking care of people. So I see that there's a large group of people that would like to take care of each other but have been unable to do so as per some of the city ordinances. And so we see an opportunity to go ahead and start changing things on a grassroots level to start humanity back on the right track as far as how humanity should be able to not have to pay so much just to be healthy or just to survive. If you're not able to pay for things, how can you do those things in the society we've created so far? The systems that have been set in place for the homeless have worked for a select few people that need services, but there are parts of the systems that are missing. Those parts do not include things for people that are mentally ill or PTSD, which was earlier. We also have people with split personality disorders. We need a large, we see the opportunity to not only help those people without severe medication, but integrate them into a group, into a family, where they can be accepted and then learn how to deal with their own issues without having to rely on chemical modification of their brains. We saw that the terminology of services, when changed to resources, empowered people. We need to use terminology that empowers each other. We even changed the way, before all this started, the homeless that were upset at the people that had houses because of the different clash things. Just because of the different cultures, used to be called yuppies. The houseless community now calls them housies. It's nicer. It's the way we talk to each other has to change as a whole. We are now not working as individuals in separate areas. We're now working as a whole for humanity, and we need to start respecting each other as such. So that's a ginormous opportunity to build a wonderful community in that manner, just with the terminology and the words we use towards each other. Also, we see the opportunity for, we see an opportunity to change the alienated segments of our community that have not been able to exist within our system. And it's brought a greater sense of being in this together as the community is. I mean, you may have an issue, and I may have an issue. If we're on the streets, we don't have a safe place to stay. We're watching each other to be careful not to overstep our bounds. If you have a community area where everybody can be safe together, then you're not watching like that, like, hey, how can I help you? How can I help anybody? You don't have to worry about stuff like that when you're in the community, because the community takes care of itself. Basically the opportunity to see that lifestyles and people's needs of habitats are completely 100% different and must be treated as such, as per their own requirements for the things they need for themselves. So the rules that we can start changing, the rules that we can start changing immediately are small, and we can do those, and we just need help to basically not get our toes stepped on while taking care of our people.
Thanks, Sarah.
Michael Kerrigan book that Occupy Eugene was an incredible, creative community where all were treated on equal terms, both unhoused and those from the general community. And then also, to move forward, we need to identify those paradigms that work. And the ones that don't work, need to get rid of those and develop new ones that are really going to help the unhoused in our community.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing that. We want to make sure we can get to the next steps. Yes.
That's a good,
we gave people a 12 to 1:30 time commitment and want to respect the time that people have. We gave people some time to talk before, but now we've all had our juices going and have more to say. So I'm hoping and invite that we will read what you have worked on out here, and we will share that with each other, and we will put together some kind of document that reflects that we've heard it. And then if you see something missing, you'll be invited to tell us you didn't get that. So that's my...
Yeah, you will get, we're going to collect those and get the feedback, so thank you.
People are saying so many wonderful things. I can't write them down fast enough. Please, if we could find some way to capture, to record.
We're going to do that.
All the spontaneous
I agree, Elaine. It's been a wonderful dialogue as a starting place. What we'll do is we'll collect all the papers and try to summarize it. Of course, it will never be reflective of the content, but we'll try to capture it as much as we can.
And post it when we have access to it.
Yes.
So can we pause on that one? You may already be there, you guys, so just tell me. But I just want to be sure our staff, which is, you should introduce yourself.
I'm Michael Wiss, Community Development in the City of Eugene.
And Chuck, where's Chuck?
Chuck Friday, City Manager's Office.
For our city staff, I want you to know who they are. And I feel sure that we're going to try to get this between here and our website so you will be able to have access to what we've talked about.
The other thing, I know that as this process proceeds, we'll work to make sure that that information is flowing both ways between the task force and the public and back and forth. So this is not the last time this conversation is going to happen. It'll continue.
The other thing I want to emphasize is we know some of you don't have email, and so we'll be working with the planning group to figure out how can we get this information out to those who don't have email, where's a good place to post it, how can we disseminate this to public beyond. Most of us just rely on email, but there's lots of folks who aren't connected that way. So we'll be working with you to help us figure out how to make sure we're disseminating this to everyone. So we'll ask for your help with that. Yes.
Well, I just want to mention that a member of the Occupy who also does community TV is right behind us, and he's videotaping the entire thing, and we'll be posting it for your future access.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. So we do want to hear, though, actually, as Elaine said, there's so much great information and ideas flowing here. So very quickly, if each group could identify their one top priority for question number 2. So what's the one thing you'd most like to see come out of this process? And we're going to start with the other end this time.
We'll do it around, and if we miss anything by the end, we'll call them out. Yeah. So, got one for this one? I'll tell you what, if the group that has one, we can start.
Okay, our one thing we would like to see come out of this is a community center for the unhoused in every neighborhood. And I can elaborate if you want me to. There are tons of benefits from that. Okay. So a place to come in if you're a housey, to bring things and to contribute. Remember earlier in public testimony we heard somebody say, I want a place to plug in. It would be in your freaking neighborhood. So one in every neighborhood. Currently we have community centers for the housed, and when this was suggested by Smudge in our group, I could so relate to it because I use those community centers for the housed. We need them for the unhoused. Every neighborhood.
Every neighborhood.
Another person?
We just decided that, basic living, sleeping, places for hygiene and community function should be available and readily accessible in one place without being criminalized for every single person. Every person.
We can jump back. Do you guys have yours?
Well, we have similar ones to that. We also had hopes to heal the divide that we see has surfaced or has been revealed by some of the consternation folks had about the Occupy site. And so to bring our community together, back together to address this issue as a community, I'd say that's one of the big hopes.
Our number one was a centralized place for basic services we don't need elsewhere, and backing that up is funding.
One of the things that our team talked about was the need for wet housing.
Say again?
A unique and special place for wet housing as different from general.
We would like to see a hub for people to come and be able to cook their food that they get on EBT, seeing as you can't get hot food or mostly proteins that would keep you healthy, or other food other than sugars and carbs on too much EBT without being able to cook. You can't get proper nutrition, so we need a hub where we can cook our food to the housed and unhoused. And I would also say just a fire pit somewhere, anywhere, outside, preferably near where they cook the food, but somebody needs to put a warming thing out where people can just come and just stay and communicate with each other without taking time or getting kicked out, and just one solid space.
We came up with, we established everyone's right to be somewhere at all times, day or night. And what we talked about was that one option is not sufficient because there are a variety of populations within what we're calling the homeless. So we need to create a variety of options that address the needs of those different groups.
What Chuck said, but as well as that downtown somewhere, hopefully within proximity to the bus station, that is secure storage. You know, I think of the 85 gazillion parking garages we have and all of those lockers for bicycles, and that's really nice, but you can lock a bike to a pole. Why can't those lockers be for the unhoused who need somewhere safe and secure to put their stuff during the day? It's a really easy thing for the city to do. It wouldn't cost a whole lot of money. For free.
Other groups that haven't given us either one, we've got.
I'm Sabra. Hi, I'm right in the sun. What our group came to was the need to build capacity to work with human need at all levels.
I'm Trey McDonald. A lot of here, but one thing in addition is that what we don't want to see is something that's a book on the shelf or one action will change.
We have several, many which have been covered, but we also said that we thought it was important to have opportunities for people to make community and family connections, not just be isolated in something that provides housing or temporary housing, but to be able to make those connections.
Did we get all of them, each group to get a chance to?
Well, this has been really helpful for us to get a chance to dialogue some beginnings about the opportunities and the issues. We want to talk in just a minute, in the last 5 minutes that we have, about next steps. And maybe we can have you go back.
It's time for everyone to just.
One of the things that would be helpful.
So, we have some logistical things that we'd like to talk about. So it seems like maybe for the next, I hate putting my back here. I'm sorry. Okay, so I apologize for my posterior. So we wanted to talk about governance issues, how you want to govern yourself and make decisions at the next meeting. Now that the juices are flowing about what you want to achieve, the next meeting really is probably going to need to be about how you achieve. And one of the things that we found in a group that's this big is it really helps to have a smaller group that can make a time commitment to help plan the next meetings and get things going so that the pump is primed. So out of the task force members, if we could get a show of hands, you might already have that name for me, thank you. People who would be willing and have the time and space to serve on a smaller group to help organize.
And what we'd like is if we could get a variety of people from the different sectors too. So if you see somebody that's got their hand up from your sector, we want to keep it down maybe to about 10 people or so. So if you could call as your hands up.
Your name, can you call your name? Julie Grossman.
Terry. Can I say Terry King? Occupied.
And Julie Grossman. Julie Grossman. Craig.
Craig.
Okay. Melissa.
Melissa, did you get this one?
Big John.
Big John.
Pearl Wolf.
I can just see your name tag. Chris Pryor.
Chris Pryor.
K or C?
Kirsten Lee.
Kirsten K.E. K.I.
T-I-N.
James Burton.
James, what's the last initial?
And you, Carla, is your name Carla?
No, I should have my co-op.
Mike Sullivan.
Judith Boss.
Judith Gray.
Judith, what was the last initial? Boss. D.
Nancy. Leavers. Thank you. Great, thank you so much. Yes.
Jim David.
Gene Stacy.
Michael Kerrigan.
Great. Thank you.
So you wanted about 20 folks, right?
Well, that's more than enough. If you guys might be able to stick around for just a minute, this is the beginning of your extra time, if we can just talk a little bit about how we can schedule some time to talk about our planning, that'd be great. Thank you for being willing to take that on for the group.
And I think I know that there's a lot of schedules to manage here. And so, Chuck, are you the king of the schedules back here? So I think once we have some possibility, once the planning group spends some time talking about what the next meeting might be, we will communicate with you as soon as we can. If we don't have contact information for you, some form on this sheet, can you make sure that we do have it before we go? In some way of contacting members of the task force.
I think you're already thinking about it. I just think the sooner we get a regular day, we don't have to think we're going to have a new day or a new time, that's reliable, that can help
That would be
everybody.
great. And we'll have the planning group help think that through with it.
Is there a thought that since we're somewhat 20 days into the first, to the 90 days, that the end date could be more realistic? We're looking at a pretty big picture.
From the day.
I will offer something, but it's councilors will have to tell you whether they think that's reasonable or not. But my belief is if we show we're really working hard on something and we're moving in a direction, and if we need some more time, council will probably be open to that. What they wouldn't be open to is if we futzed around and didn't do anything and just wanted to have time to not do anything. So I think if we're on it, we'll be on it. Right?
There's one other thing I wanted to mention to you is, as Laurel said early in the meeting, typically how we work in our center is we actually oftentimes have private conversations with people before we start the process. And obviously we didn't have time to do that this time. So please make sure that we have your contact information so that we can have people call through just to talk about what we really saw and so we can dig a little deeper than we did the short time we did today. So we'll be calling through, and it may not be one of us, it may be one of the other staff members, so we'll just relish the opportunity to talk to you individually. Also, we'll make sure that our contact information is on the city's website. So if members of the public want to talk to us about the process, we're very open to that kind of conversation as well. So.
Two things again, is on your process guide for the small groups, if you could write task force or public and leave them here so we make sure we get them all. If you could look at this list, those of you who volunteered or those who didn't, do you see that we have most of the sectors represented here? That a little bit of everybody. Okay. Yeah.
I could participate on that. I can't today, but the event is on
At
LON.
Great, thank you. What was that? We'd like to thank you. Thank you. And I think this was a very, very good start. A little, sort of cranking it up, I think, kind of the beginning. But I think we have a lot of talent and a lot of will here, and we're just going to make it. We're just going to make it be fun. So thank you all very much for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you all for helping with the facilitation and your staff and everyone.